Our 2024-25 season previews conclude today with the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets, thank you for waiting to the end, by the way, are a team in a very interesting spot. I have to say, they are in a very interesting spot. You know, you look in the terms of the last 3 seasons, they've gotten better, but there's some people that do believe they might actually get worse this coming year, which I don't really see that. They might get a little bit worse in the standings, but they're not going to miss the playoffs bad. So, in 21-22, which is where we'll start with this, the last time this team missed the playoffs, they went 39, 32, and 11 for 89 points. They were 19th in the NHL that year. They obviously ended up missing the playoffs that season. I honestly thought that, they came pretty close. It's just because, that Western Conference that year was a little bit competitive. Dallas was fighting in there. Vancouver was in there. Vegas was battling for it. And obviously, it ended up going to Dallas and none of those teams. So I wasn't really that mad at Winnipeg, honestly, in that season. The following year, they got a lot better in 2022-23. They went 46, 33, and 3 for 95 points. They were 14th in the NHL that season. They ended up making the playoffs, but they lost in the first round to the Vegas Golden Knights in a pretty dominant fashion. To be honest, they were losing in a pretty dominant fashion. So, yeah, it was a rough season for them. And people thought that they would definitely, maybe regress a little bit. But nope, they got better with this current roster. And there was a lot of questions in that offseason, too. Are they going to trade Scheifele? Are they going to trade Hellebuck? Are they going to go into this tear-down rebuild that they were expecting to? Nope. They did not. They ended up signing Hellebuck and Scheifele to 8-year contracts. Whether or not you think they make sense, they're signed, and they're done. They're done from moving for the next couple of seasons now. So in 2023-24, they went 52, 24, and 6 for 110 points. They were 4th in the NHL that year. They did make the playoff. They were actually the 2nd seed in the Central Division, which was pretty good by all accounts. You look in terms of, honestly, how this team was looked at the previous year, they got a lot better. And a lot of that was Connor Hellebuck. But to the disappointment, they lost to the Colorado Avalanche in the first round. Now, again, it's Colorado. They won the Cup in 2022. So it's not like it was that surprising. But Winnipeg was the higher seed. We expected for them to be at least a little bit more competitive. They weren't. They ended up losing in 5 games. It was a rough series for them. And there were a lot of questions heading into that season, or heading into this offseason. And they didn't do a ton to really kind of change things. They didn't really need to. Your departures list: Sean Monahan, Brendan Dillon, Tyler Toffoli, Laurent Brossoit, and Nate Schmidt. So apart from losing deadline acquisitions, that's honestly what the guys that they lost. They lost a few pieces on their blue line and Schmidt and Dillon, but apart from that, no big losses there from Winnipeg, I guess, honestly. But there was no big adds either. You have Jarrett Anderson-Dolan, Hayden Fleury, Eric Comrie, and Kaapo Kähkönen. And I guess if you want to include Jaeger and McGroarty in there, those are obviously losses, but they weren't players that played on the teams last year. McGroarty was in juniors, so I didn't consider that a departure. If you wanted to, you could, because I guess McGroarty might make the Pittsburgh roster. But regardless, take it what you will. I think that, honestly, they didn't make a lot of moves. They didn't really need to, again, as I said. I mean, you get a third string and a backup goalie in Comrie and Kähkönen. You get some depth in Fleury and Dolan. But apart from that, no really big moves from this team, and they didn't really need to do anything, to be honest with you, as I said. So let's get into the projected lineup. This is per the Hockey News, not per me, so don't come at me if these are not right. Your top 6, Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabriel Velarde as your first line. Second line, Nikolai Ehlers, Vladislav Nemestikov, and Cole Perfetti. Good top 6. I like that. I like the first line. Connor and Scheifele, good together. They work very well together. Velarde, he was solid last year. He dealt with injuries, but he was good. He was pretty good. So hopefully that first line can stay legitimate. And obviously the second line there too. I do have some questions with Nemesnikov. Is he going to be a good second line center? We'll obviously find out. Perfetti signed to a contract recently. We'll hope that he can do some good with some top 6 minutes. And same with Ehlers too. Hopefully he stays with the Jets roster as well. Your bottom 6, Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, and Alex Iafallo as your third line. Morgan Barron, David Gustafson, and Mason Appleton as your fourth line. And then Rasmus Kupari, Jarrett Anderson, Dolan, and Brad Lambert as some extra forwards there. So I like the bottom 6. I like Lowry, good captain, good third line center. Iafallo, we'll see how he does in a third line role. Niederreiter, good ad. I like the fourth line too. Hopefully Barron will play well. Gustafson, interesting there. We'll see how he can do as a fourth line center. Appleton, good solid depth there too. So overall, I like the forward core. Good top 6, solid bottom 6. I think that it's overall pretty solid by all accounts. Your defensive core is what I also like a lot. You have Morrissey and DeMello as your first pairing. Then you have Sandberg and Pionk as your second pairing. Then you have Miller and Fleury as your third. And then Logan Stanley is your extra defenseman. So, again, I like the blue line. The blue line is definitely not the strongest. You have Josh Morrissey and DeMello, I guess. I like to think that Morrissey carries that a lot on that blue line. Again, I'm not a huge fan of it. We'll see how Sandberg can do. We'll see how Hayden Fleury will be able to do with that roster too. But obviously we're going to see. But I don't mind it. I think it could definitely be better. But overall, Morrissey carries a lot of that blue line. 100%. You look at your goaltending, it's the same as it's been at the starting role at least. Connor Hellebuck's your starting goalie. I think, again, you can say these things you want about the blue line. Hellebuck's a really good goalie, so it doesn't really matter that much. Take it with what you will. And then obviously you have Eric Comrie as your projected backup. Maybe Kokkonen beats him out. But, of course, I like the goalie tandem. I like the forward core. The defense is where I have questions. But apart from that, this roster is, I think, very solid still. And I think that Cheveldayoff has done a good job managing with what he's had. And then obviously Scott Arniel is your brand new head coach after Bonus retired. So hopefully Arniel will be able to mentor some of these younger players, even though today there was some controversial moves with sending the young guys down. And people didn't really like that. But hopefully they will be able to pan out and maybe stay at that second spot in that Central Division, because a lot of people are projecting them to be lower, and I am unfortunately one of them. So for the final time, let's take a look at the Hockey News' yearbook. It has the Jets finishing 4th in the Central Division, and their X factor is, have we seen the pinnacle of Scheifele? Now 13 seasons and nearly 800 games into his career. Well, the Jets' fate is oh my God, I can't read. It is linked to Hellebuck's play. They likewise stand to succeed or fail based on their number one center's production. So again, Scheifele is somebody that is interesting there for the Jets. Again, they sign up to that 8-year deal. Are we going to see a bigger output from him, or are we going to see the same this year? That's your biggest question that faces this Jets team right now. But again, I think if Hellebuck is Hellebuck and hopefully he doesn't face injuries, I think this Jets team should absolutely make the playoffs. Will it finish at least 3rd in that Central Division for sure? But again, I like where they're going. I like the direction that they're going in. We'll just see how these young guys will be able to filter themselves within the lineup. And hopefully, they'll be able to make themselves in. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on the Winnipeg Jets. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. We are finally done these. It took me so long. I do apologize for it taking me this long to get them done. A lot of it lies on me on missing out a week from vacation and being a little bit inconsistent. That is my fault. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will be better during the 2024-25 season for sure. I am pumped to make videos. It's just this was kind of holding me back a little bit, kind of making me lose a little bit of motivation. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.